my friends stand by me only if I'm right. I come out of triple darkness just to see the light. If I say it once, I guarantee I say it twice. If they want me, I ain't going out without a fight. In my dreams, I'm a killer, but for God, man. Try to play it cool, but it's getting hard, man. Rolling with the real and death to all the frauds, man. Not too many of me, yeah, it's kinda hard, man. In my room, sitting in my room. Know they waiting on me and I'm coming soon. Never been a sellout, never been a coon. Y'all be on the camera acting like I'ma show them how I true it. You tell me a story, man. I know you got a story for me.
Just yesterday, my brother said, he said, man, what Darius got us going into now? He said, man, pretty soon Darius gonna be like, hey, man, I got a dude that's selling 2 elephants, but they both got stomach viruses, but it's gonna be a good deal. He said that yesterday.
It's the B2M crew at the Code Building in Charlottesville. Once again, coming at you. Wonderful co-working network space. What's up, brothers?
What up, though?
We back again, man. We back again. Hey, it's one of those special days coming up on the calendar, bro. We know we just got past Mother's Day, and I hope everyone and all the wonderful mothers had a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Mother's Day celebration. The next calendar celebration nationally is Father's Day.
I thought you were going to say Juneteenth.
It's
Father's Day come
Juneteenth.
before
Father's
that.
Day come before Juneteenth.
Juneteenth.
Was it last year when it was on Juneteenth?
That's how overlooked Father's Day is. Though.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
we don't even know. Yeah, but anyway, you know, Father's Day, I'm not hating. I'm not hating because mothers really, y'all can say I'm, brown nosing a little bit, but if it was up to me, if they say, you know what, would y'all sacrifice Father's Day just so they could be a mother? I'd be like, yeah, go ahead. Because that's that important, right?
Right.
But I do notice in the stores, the product level is a little different on Father's Day. That's just an observation. That's not a judgment. It's like, with the Mother's Day, that like you little Zales and all of the jewelry stores and the trip. I mean, there's no limit on what they say we could get, right? Then on Father's Day,
all of that,
it's tools and ties. And I'm not just being cliche, but it's,
And I ain't no handyman.
stuff that we can use. Stuff that we can use to help everybody else. That's the Father's Day gift.
Oh, wow.
Right? So,
Great point.
but anyway, man, and a lot of it, remember that reel one of y'all sent? And the brother was talking about black men and fathers, and he was like talking about how most of the time on Father's Day, we just like, what y'all want? We be like, just leave me alone.
Yeah.
I just don't want to do nothing.
Right.
I don't want
day of
nothing.
peace.
Just want some peace. And he said, because we never typically get peace, because those of us that's trying to be real fathers, we always trying to do, right?
Right.
And this is not to slight mothers. But I'm going to take a different angle. I'm not going to, because we all felt that.
I like that angle you had.
You like that angle?
Nah, go ahead.
We talked about that a little bit when we was talking about how to rejuvenate and the backpack thing. But this, man, y'all remember when Bill Cosby's son got killed?
I do.
Yeah, I do.
Right.
And
Enos.
we know Bill had, his controversies in his latter years that ended up coming out. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something he said that resonated with me, that stayed with me forever. He talked about his son, Enos. That was his name. And I think it was a Russian national or somebody killed him on the highway in California. And we was all wondering, was it some type of conspiracy? Like, what was going on? The first thing they say when somebody, a tragedy happened to an entertainer, like, Bill was just about to buy ABC. Michael Jackson just bought Sony. Or,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We good for them.
But he said about his son at the funeral, he was my hero.
Oh, wow.
And I thought about that, and at the time, and can y'all date me on when that happened? Do y'all remember when that happened? Were we fathers when that happened? We had to be young fathers.
I was.
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
We know you were.
Without a doubt.
James started producing his.
Look it up, John.
His Nation earlier than everybody else.
Yeah.
97.
97.
Shout out to Mike.
So Amir was 2, Darius about 3.
There's
4?
I wasn't a father.
All right, so just think about then if I was just a father,
I probably was like, how can your son become, not questioning it,
Yeah.
but what happens so that your son becomes your hero? So that's the angle on Father's Day, man. I want to talk about what we learn from our sons. You know, through this fathering thing, because in a lot of ways, I'm not going to jack on my sons. They are my heroes, man. Because I look at them sometimes and I say, you know what? I get what Bill, I don't know how he arrived all the way to where he was, but I look at them sometimes and say, you know what? I get it. So what have you learned from your sons, John?
Oh man, and the first thought that came to my mind when you talked about that is when they're younger, right? And you see they show certain characteristics, right? And I always talk about how it's easy to take credit for when they do something awesome, right? And when they do something not so good, you be like, oh, that's just he developing his own personality. or the worst was like he get that from his mama.
Yeah,
all that bloodline ain't mine.
That's my DNA.
Right.
That's funny.
But as you get older, man, and like it was ironic because Andre came home for Mother's Day, but we spent the day together Saturday prior to that. And he was treating me like I was the 90-year-old dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I was loving it because it was just him almost reversing the roles of like, you good, checking out on me. You know what I'm saying? And so I was just loving the young man that he is and appreciating that and loving the time that we spent together just for a day. Now, Isaiah is in Miami, so I don't see him as often.
Mm-hmm.
Gabriel's just back from school. But anytime, man, I'm just so proud and humbled by that. You know what I mean? And so when I see them show those wonderful characteristics, I'm like, man, that by the grace of God, you know, these guys gonna be just fine.
Right.
You know,
And you feel like you did well. You and
yeah, by the grace of God, I did well. Hey, look, hopefully I don't want to mess them up. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But what is it when you look at that and you say by the grace of God, and you get that feeling when we let's try to take it up to that hero level. So what is a hero? Like, what do we admire in heroes? Maybe that's a good question. Because I'm trying to get at what Bill was talking about, and I don't know. I'm not saying I know.
Right.
But I do know I admire my sons. You know what I'm saying? So what is it in them, what is it in Tyreek Talik that if somebody say, you know what, man, that's hero-like, that's hero quality.
Real quick, I can go into as far as the one that would make sense or, you know, in context here. A person admired for achievements and noble qualities probably is the best.
A person that is admired for achievements and noble qualities. You know what? Bill being a scholar, he's a PhD. He wasn't talking about who your hero, Superman.
Right.
I mean, you know, he wasn't on no unrealistic,
Right.
even Greek hero heroine thing. He was on some qualities.
Yeah. Man, as soon as you said that, when you was talking about Bill and his son, talking about him being your hero, I was like, I put myself immediately in a position to take that stance. I was like, man, looking at my son Tyreek, just man, you always want you always want your kid to strive better than you.
That's right.
But me personally, I think everybody want that. But for me personally, I always want my child to strive better than me, and be well rounded in multiple platforms, multiple angles. And I just watch how he always want to give back to the youth. I
see that from a distance.
Yeah, and be a example to them. So to get that buzz going when they at a certain age, to be able to tap into them. And he always doing stuff with the King Center moderator and the book reading moderator and giving back to the community and constantly always going and doing stuff for the school for career day and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I'm seeing his walks as well as in his professional business, getting numerous awards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And doing what he loved.
Mhm.
I always talk about just you don't meet a lot of people that dream of things and then they walk and execute.
Mm,
And I'm able to see that up close and
Yes.
personal.
that's nice. That's
It's just mind boggling.
Is Talik pointing out a nuance that John joked about a little bit? We want to take credit for all the good stuff, right? Is he pointing out that what the hero part we see in them is the part we're the least responsible for? Like when I say least responsible for, I mean like
It's almost God's
you ain't
gift.
got nothing to do with that journalism space.
Right. It's a God.
You
right.
help coach him,
Right.
but the things you see coming out of him, you can't.
Yeah.
You didn't tell him go after the youth. Right. You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
So, and then you see it and you like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's heroic. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And maybe
Yeah.
like in our own relationships with our kids, J Moo, we see these moments where they demonstrate those qualities, man. And where did you see it, bro? You know what type of,
I was sitting here thinking about each of my boys and even my daughter, as a matter of fact. But Mike, experiencing something that could have really set him, in the spiral downward and towards something, to where he just a point of no return. So I really admire his ability to have turned his life, straight back around. How he's raising his daughter, my granddaughter. Crazy, I know that sounds weird. To me, I'm still trying to get used to it. and being the wonderful father he is becoming as well. Courtney, shooting and going for his things, his dreams and whatnot, and he's still pursuing certain things.
Yeah.
In that aspect, and going off to New York, you know what I mean?
Let's
and,
go.
and just yes, and then he's still there, thriving, in that city with where a lot of people could go and be like, yo, this rent is
And
stupid
drown.
for a room. Now you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
And just
yeah.
and just and come back, tail between their legs or what, or however that little adage goes. And K Moo doing what he does, and really just as far as all of what, how we came up, man, 13 to 20.
Yeah.
Just got in all of the foolishness contrary to what we should be doing. For him to kind of hold out and stay on the straight and narrow.
You
know what I
admired
mean?
that.
Definitely
With
admire that.
added pressures that you had that you didn't have. I mean, you know
Right.
what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir. Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So those things, and then my daughter, man, just again sticking, focusing, almost similar to how you said with Tyreek, man, and just putting her ambition, her goals and whatnot out there, and just being ambitious and going to get it and achieving it and doing well and thriving. So, man, yeah, all my children, man, just I see that and find that heroic aspect of in all of
Yeah.
what they've
Well,
done.
keep
So,
telling me a story, man. I
very
know you
proud
got a story for me.
babies.
Just yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
my brother said, man, what Darius got us going into now?
Uh-huh.
He said, man, pretty soon Darius gonna be like, hey man, I got a dude that's selling 2 elephants, but they both got stomach viruses, but it's gonna be a good deal. He said that yesterday.
That sounds like a Sanford or something.
Yeah, exactly. He just said that yesterday. And so, man, what he's speaking to is Darius's level of ambition and drive and his desire and hopes for the future. And it's just amazing. Like, he's a young man that sees absolutely no limits. He
Wow.
think he can do absolutely anything.
Yeah.
And if you look at him, he just turned 30 and he has some amazing individual accomplishments.
Yeah.
You know? And so from that perspective, it's just something to be admired.
Yeah.
And part of that is one of the things that Darius in particular, I super admire about him is he intentionally pushes me to be better.
Wow.
He like, Dad, you can be better in this area. And yeah, we clashing right now because I'm pushing you.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
yes, sir.
And we have a relationship to where I can really respect and admire him pushing me in that way. And not take offense, like, who are you to be telling me, you know? I was just saying earlier, you know, part of intelligence is getting new information and being willing to change your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And so when he pushes me in that way, he may be giving me some new information, or he may be giving me some information about myself that I'm not aware of.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think in that regards, it's amazing.
Man, I think.
With-
I'm sorry.
oh
bro.
no, I was gonna say, in terms of Kari, man, he is the most laid back, peaceful, happy dude
Yes, sir.
you can ever imagine. Like, it's almost to the point where you concern yourself for him, because you're like, how is this dude ain't got no problems?
Yeah.
Who just walking around with no issues?
Yeah.
You know? But he just doesn't allow things to bother him. He's kind of in his own world. He's dedicated. You know, people are like, man, he's a quiet guy. He's quiet. I'm like, nah, he really not quiet. If you talk to him, he'll talk a lot.
Yeah.
But if you don't say nothing to him, he don't say nothing to you.
Right.
You know, and because he's just extremely comfortable in his space, and he could give two rats, you know what, about what anybody think about what he doing and how he moving.
Mhm.
You know, so that confidence that he move in the world with is just something to be admired. You know, when it come to him. So
Yeah.
those are the hero-like qualities
Yeah.
that I look at both of my sons
Yeah.
with, and
With admiration, right? Not just with like hey, I did that, but with admiration.
yeah,
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
And you know, one thing that we always talk about when we talk about, man, what our boys doing? You know, like man, don't you see them girls? Don't you what y'all doing? You know, and we admire the fact that they just not on that.
Yeah.
They're not on that. And we all say that, you know, through the grace of God or however it happened, they just better than we were. They just better than we
We
were.
got to give credit to the women too, for sure. But
Absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
they just
yeah.
better, man.
Yeah,
Yes.
they just better all the way around.
And that's
you know
good,
what I mean?
and that's a credit to us, because
Yes.
they couldn't have been better if they didn't see better.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's I'm
Facts,
not bragging.
facts.
We're not taking that credit, but that's just a fact. I got, and I hope to be able to, because I got 3 boys, and I hope over the course of the episode we all give these boys justice, and all our children, our daughters too, because we don't often tell them that they teach us, or
Right.
maybe we don't tell them enough. I
Right.
try to, but I'm speaking of us collectively, because we know it's a lot of bad father-son relationships and parental relationships. And I got a story since Haki here with us this weekend, man. When the pandemic happened, you know, Minister Farrakhan said, Muslims don't take the vaccine. Do not take the vaccine.
Right.
I'm telling you, don't take it. These people gonna kill y'all. And I'm not even going for the anti-vaxxers and vaxxers. I'm not even gonna get into it, except the data is showing we don't know how great an idea it was. Always. Not to mention, I was on the side of, I'm gonna listen to him. That's a spiritual leader that I trust. I know the history of this government with the Tuskegee experiment. I know all of these things. I'm gonna try to hold out. The more and more people my size kept dying, the more and more afraid I got that I needed to take the vaccine.
Right.
And I was worried. And he was the only, and I got it, right? So I didn't get 6 or 7. I think I got 2. And I was like, I'm just going to rock with it from right here, right? But I ended up getting the virus twice. The first time I got it, the way it had treated me with the vaccine, I don't know how it would have been if I didn't have. I just don't know, because I'm not justing, but it was rough. Couldn't breathe for like 30 days after it felt like. But anyway, Hakeem was like, I'm not taking it, and in my mind, his faith is not even as strong as mine, right? Not even as practicing a Muslim as I am. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In your mind.
Yeah, in my mind. And so he said, I'm not going to take it. So now they home from college at Hampton University. And it's time to go back. And it was time for him to do his last year. And they said, you got to come back in person, and you can't come back if you don't take the vaccine. You cannot come back. What are we going to do? He got 30 credits left. He's trying to graduate early, be out in 3 years. We got a plan. I'm trying to get this money off of me to build. You know what I mean? I told the kids, hey, I told my children during the pandemic, we taking 18. They was game, but let's take all the credits they let you take. You at home. Right. So anyway, and they got out early too. You know, so
Good shot.
both
Good
of them
stuff.
got out early. You know,
Congrats.
But
Yeah, that's
thankfully.
Great accomplishment.
But anyway, so this brother, I said, what we gonna do? He said, I'm not taking it. What we gonna do? He went as far as, I'm gonna transfer. And potentially, he was gonna transfer to Virginia State, potentially lose 1.5 years of credits. Because he
Wow.
wasn't gonna take that vaccine.
Wow.
I remember.
Right? Now I get involved. Okay, we're gonna do this. It's just paperwork. We writing the deans, there's a waiver process. Through my leadership, the waiver process got rejected. I'm talking about through the way I was saying, advising him to do it.
Yeah.
I was like, man, put in there that you will follow, you do this and that and all of that. The lady rejected it. I'm arguing with the people about how you gonna reject it and don't tell us why it's rejected. I mean, I'm like, I'm really gonna have to call the ACLU on y'all and really get active. And I don't even know if that's gonna work, but I'm willing to take it to the governor. You know, whatever,
Yeah,
right?
Right.
They were staunch. I'm not hating on Hampton, but they were very staunch about this policy. And me and this one particular administrator, they was going back and forth. And then they get to the point where I was like, I might get them kicked out just off of me arguing with them. I'm writing the provost, everybody, right?
Right.
And I was exposing the fact that you're telling them it's rejected, but you're not giving guidance on why. They said, you just got to resubmit. He said, I know, okay, I got it. He goes in, quotes some scriptures from the Holy Quran. It says, and Allah will heal you. Non-political. This is my faith. This is what I do. Waiver approved. This now at the last minute. This school starts August 14th. This is approval August 12th. He took it that far.
Wow.
Now at this time, we don't even know if it's gonna pass. So he just ain't. We don't even know you're going to school. And man, I learned that he was more heroic than me than standing by his faith with the initial choice. I learned that he had the calmness of mind to figure out and analyze the response of the administrator in a way that I didn't see and come up with a way to deal with it, and was composed to deal with it and was patient, wasn't even as rattled as me, and won.
Come on.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I was like,
That's
man,
heavy.
I started seeing, I see a bill. That's the time I see a bill talking about.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
And there's more
Then
examples.
we
you
learn
know,
from
even
them.
now. But
Yeah. Now we learning from them.
yeah, man. And so, but that's a powerful thing though. So we got all of these moments, we got these boys, and we can't forget to celebrate that, when we see and remind them man, you know what? And I try to do it, and I think my son can tell you sometimes I stop him and say, hey man, I just want you to know I see that.
Yeah.
Just I know it's hard, but I'm just letting you know I see it. Good
That's
stuff.
good. Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because I'm saying to you, not I'm in charge of this, but yo, man, as a fan, like I would with y'all, I see you.
Yeah.
I see you drop that double-double on them.
Because
Yeah.
we want them to know nobody on this earth outside you, as a man, wants you to exceed them like your father.
That's right. Come on.
You know?
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's not just monetarily, financially. When you do things of character, of in the
Integrity.
community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
yeah,
you
for
want them
sure.
to succeed so much? Why do you want Gabriel, Isaiah, and Andre to succeed so much? What is it?
Hey, bro, I don't know. I think we always want to give them the good that we have and grow upon that and take it to the next level. I don't know, bro. I just
I'll
think
tell
it's
you
just
why.
in-
Tell me.
I'll tell you why.
I was about to say.
I'll tell you
I was
why.
about to
I'll tell
say,
you why.
I'll tell you why.
Because every father has a vision for his family. Every father has a vision for his family. And from the moment they are born, and we are blessed with the responsibility of rearing them and raising them, we develop a vision for them, hopefully. And in that, we start to impart and try to impart upon them all of the characteristics that we believe will be required to bring that vision into fruition.
Okay.
That's what we do as a father. It's easy to see when you see dad put football in the baby bed when you first bring him home. He got a vision.
Mhm.
You did
When
that.
dad, put the basketball, give them the basketball when they first come home. When dad buy the hoop, you know, see, those are visions. And sometimes, you know, parents get criticized for them because the outside world will look at you and think, why are you putting that pressure on your son? Why are you doing that? They don't believe in those visions. Sometimes they don't. Or they are afraid to have those same dreams for their kids.
Yeah.
You know, because the world done beat it out of them. And so now they feel it's their responsibility to not set their kids up for disappointment because we don't want to see the hurt and the pain if their dreams don't come to reality. And so we are reluctant to say, no, this is what I'm dreaming for my son. This is what I want him to do. We watched Joe Jackson, Earl Woods, Richard Williams. The list goes on and on of fathers who had dreams for their family and executed on it. And now it produced the greatest entertainer in the world, the greatest tennis players in the world, one of the greatest golfers in the world. That's what a father's dream produced. And so that's why we want better for them, because what is it? A lot of times those dreams come out of our failed dreams.
Right.
Right.
The dreams that did not happen for us, we have for them. And so that's where it comes from. And so that's why sometimes parents lose perspective on it and don't always really know when to push, when to pull, when to pull back, and how to do it appropriately. And that's what we all sitting up here trying to help other parents with in terms of dealing with their young children and how to help them dream and how to teach them how to fail so they can pursue their dreams and not be afraid of failure. You know, there's no such thing as failure.
Yeah.
You know, there's only quitting. No such thing as failure. You know, and so that's why I believe we want them to do better than us, because it comes out of our failed ambitions. And now we create these dreams for our kids, and then we want to see them be able to live in it. And as we admire and they become our heroes, it's because we see them living out parts of that vision that we actually had. And the most amazing thing about it is when they take the vision further than we ever dreamed.
There you go.
I was about to say
I
that.
was
When
It
they
could be
take
that
it further
next
than
level.
we ever
That's
imagined.
definitely the heroic
I
part.
was listening.
The Boys to Men podcast, or B2M podcast, is about 5 guys who've been friends for over 40 years. Between the 5 of us, we've been married for over 100 combined years. Between the 5 of us, we have 13 children, 12 sons. We discuss in our podcast about our journeys into fatherhood and how we raised our sons to be fine young men. From 6-figure earners at LinkedIn to a professional Call of Duty player. College educated entrepreneurs, that's who we are.
Our podcast is not a how to do it podcast. It is a podcast about how we did it. Come check us out.
I was listening.
Exactly,
I was
exactly.
listening to my brother over here, and so many thoughts and emotions and all kind of stuff was going on. But man, to answer that question, I always think about God telling me, and the beautiful words that I would love to hear is well and good faithful servant, because I'm leading him in this direction, and I remember, like Joaquin say, he got the basketball right and the football in the crib.
And the
Well,
tickets.
Yeah,
No,
and the tickets, right? And I remember when Tyreek was born, I used to, when he was he couldn't even hold his head up, and I would teach him how to do a business handshake versus a buddy handshake. And then when he became 1 year old, he would do the when he meet my buddies or whatever. He will be able to distinguish the two from a business to because I did it so much. Even when he was 1, he started, and I always wanted him to be a businessman. But I seen when I was somewhat trying to lead him that way, I seen some resistance, so I left him alone. I just let him, I said, he'll circle back around, because when you see your father a businessman, when you see your mother a business lady, and this is all around you, eventually you're gonna see something to catch your attention. And so those some of the things, but I had dreams for him until he was able to have his own dreams. So now he got his own dreams. So those type of things, you plant in your child to be able to dream, and now they had their own, and now they live in it, and they operating in it, and they moving in it. It's just a real beautiful thing. And not only that, so many things that we share is breaking the generation. Like Tyreek got a curse. Yeah, like generational curse, or like Tyreek got a degree. So that the next expectations and
Lifting the ceiling.
yeah, exactly. And so when he have his children, the bar's
next?
here now.
Yeah.
It ain't here no more.
Yeah.
And so those type of things.
Man, I think the first guidance I got about being a father came in FOI, when I just was as an FOI, like what that role is, right? And the ministers always used to say, they're not just about being a father, but our goal, your job, is to put young people on your shoulders so they can see beyond where you can see.
Right.
And his example is like, if you imagine yourself at a concert and you can't even see, but you just put him up there so he can see.
I
Right?
love it.
And he's seeing beyond, and he taking it in, and he experiencing it. And your goal is just to be there so he can see it. Right?
Yeah.
And so my answer to that question is why? My why is because number one, we gotta stop seeing our children as something detached from us. And our families as something that's detached. Yeah, they physically outside of your body, they're not your limb, but you are attached to them. That is me.
Right. There you go.
So
What are we talking about?
So how would you say someone see themselves detached from the children? Just give me an example.
Jokers that ain't.
If
ain't
I
seen they
don't,
kid.
because this is where I wanted to
Just
get
not
to,
being-
bro.
all right.
This is where I wanted to get to, because Joaquin was talking about the dream and the vision, and that is it. But underneath the vision is I wanted to guard the life of those boys' mind.
Right.
I wanted to protect their mind.
Right.
I was about to cuss. Forget the baseball,
Right.
the basketball, y'all know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because I made all of them play.
Yeah.
But I was more interested because there was no guarding of my mind. There was nobody that had the mothering. I'm talking about as a man to say, to watch it grow and say, you know what? It need a little water right here.
Yeah.
This part, trim that.
Yeah.
And I'm vetting your thinking to see how you think. And I'm bringing you, and I'm balancing it with some things for you to think about, and I'm guarding it. And then I'm directing you and putting you in stuff that I see that might reflect what I'm learning about your mind. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
that's how you getting on my shoulders, because I'm feeding you like a plant.
That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying? So that's why so the question is how you detach, because if you don't feel their pain and you don't understand what they need and you're not guarding and thinking about their mind, then you detached.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you should think about those things in the way you think about them for yourself.
Yeah. I was
And
You
thinking-
know,
too
that-
many,
that's-
too many of us
I
are
was
like
thinking about
that.
that
Like
playing
that.
analogy.
Too many fathers are like that. Yeah.
But
So that's
go ahead, brother.
No, and I was just saying that, and too many fathers are like that, especially
Yeah.
in our community and whatnot, having not a clue.
So I do it, you feel it. I want the best for them because the best for them is them exploring the possibilities of that brain God gave them. And that could be a talent that end up being the best welder in the world. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
Because it ain't my job that ain't my job to figure that out.
That's right.
It's not.
Yeah.
Like Talik said, we call it in education, we call it gradual release. I teach you, I guide you, I develop you until you got your legs. You know, I'm not take the training wheels off. You know what I'm saying? So up until
Gradual
then, I'm
release.
just exposing you to math, science, camp, rocks, plants. I don't know which one you're gonna like the most. I might like golf the best, and I might see. At first I was about to say, man, I wonder about when Michael Jackson and Tiger Woods. They great examples. Also come with great tragedy sometimes.
I was about to say,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
But what I was saying is, I'm not going to assign the tragedy to the father's vision
Correct.
necessarily. I'm not going to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Sometimes
But
it's the method.
but as a father, when you take it there, the life of the mind, I don't think you can let them go too deep into the love of that thing,
Yeah.
because that's not moderation. And I don't know the best. That's
And
another
that's
discussion.
what I was touching on when I
But-
said sometimes parents can't find the balance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But-
Because they can turn it into a tragic
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's super important. But that's also why, as a parent and as a father, and what we have done amongst ourselves is to bounce this stuff off at one another.
Yeah.
So we can say, yo, man, you might be tripping on that.
Big
Yeah.
fact.
Like pull back a little bit. Like, hey, I know, just let him, you know what I mean? And so but some people don't have that.
Yeah.
You know, or
yeah.
they don't have people whose opinions they value enough to listen. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And so that's the biggest challenge. You know, we just trying to figure it out and do the best we can.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's wild because since looking at our friendship that we've had over 30, 40 years of friendship, all of us having the commonality of an absent father in some way, or at a young age, or what, you know what I mean, or in some sense,
But however,
or in and out, or how, yes, we had to kind of rely on one another for that, as we, as adults, and coming into that. And again, I can, many times and occasions when we was chopping it up, you know what I mean, and came to one another about it, man. It's just, that's the beauty of it. And so,
I think
as you mentioned, hopefully this platform and what we're
can
trying to
help
do
those-
here
spark those
can be
conversations.
that. Yeah, it can be that for those who may not have the brotherhood that we've been blessed to have and whatnot to rely on as a reference and guiding.
Hey, look,
Well,
as we circle home on this topic, I want to point. You said something that I think we gotta. That's the guidance part, or if support we provide to people, or things for them to consider on the side of them being heroes because they hold us accountable. I think that's huge, man. It's huge, and what's huge about it is if your child can't hold you accountable, you are a bad parent. Even if they are afraid to raise the issue of accountability to you, you're a bad parent.
you got some blind
and
spots.
if you on one of them parents, I'm saying bad because I want them to feel it. You ain't got no damn blind spot. You a bad parent. I'm serious. I get what you saying.
Yeah, right. I was trying to soften the blow.
I want him to feel it, man.
I was trying to soften the blow.
Yeah.
A good parent gonna know they got some blind spots.
Yeah, you a bad parent because, look, man, first of all, we tell them what to do all the time.
Facts.
And then as soon as they reflect back to us what we taught them, then we got a problem with it because they ain't grown and they ain't your age and all of this other ratchet, ignorant mess.
Velocity.
You know what I'm saying? Because let me tell you something. The number one way to undo teaching somebody that you just taught some good information to is to contradict what you taught them through your actions.
Right. Looking
Hypocrisy.
hypocrisy. Yeah.
You will make them run away so far away from that truth, and it'll take them a lifetime of trauma to realize it wasn't the truth, it was you.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I just said. Cause and my children hold me accountable. I'm big on it, man. And I got ones that, you know, challenge me. I'm talking about from exercise to eating to this is what you said about this, you know, respectfully, whatever. And I love it, man, because if you're on the one hand, I'm saying they heroic, then I can't listen to you.
Yeah, right.
I'm too big for you to tell me something. And I try to, man, I listen. I love it. Hold me accountable. You right.
Yeah.
You're exactly right.
Tariq Notorious. Mom, stop helping Dad do this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Nah, he need to do it and learn and figure it out.
Yeah.
I said, you know, and you know what? I said in that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he right. You know.
You ain't grew up on high, I ain't have all that technology and all that stuff you had and all that.
Get you a helpmate.
I
got mine.
And he's like, no, let Dad do such and such and try it. And I said, well, why don't you help me?
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I always ask my son to help me, but he don't have the patience for me. I don't know why.
Yeah.
You know, he so, and but the thing is, when I'm talking to him and I want him to help me, and then most of the time is doing something on the computer. But my thing is, when I'm telling him how he needs to teach me. You know, I'm saying, look, if you had a computer and you doing something, Dad, why can't you do it? Look at this. I said, no, I don't learn like that. You have to set me down, give me the mouse, you know, show me where we pointing at, and that's how I learn. Oh, Dad, you know, and when you doing it, I'm gonna keep on asking you because it's not transferring to me yet. You know, so this is how I learn. I sat down and
How did he receive that feedback?
We still fuss about it all the time.
He not receiving
You know,
it.
because he claimed it. Dad, you not listening. You old. And I'm like, look, son, look.
He 1 for 2.
And I'm like, I
You
hear
old.
you.
Nothing.
And look, I'm like, I hear you, but at the same time, what I'm telling you is, you're gonna have to show me more than one time.
Right. Respect your
You know,
how you have to
I
learn.
say, but then when I flip the
And the way
script
you
on him, because this is what he used to. So when I'm fixing something in the house, he want me to fix his dresser drawer. I'm like, man, why don't you just do it? Well, he don't. It's why can't you do this? And here's
you
the
flip it-
hammer.
you
Here's
flip it on
the
the
nail.
chair.
Why can't you
You
do
flip
this?
it on the
What's
chair.
wrong with you? You in my world now.
Yeah.
You see it, you know, Dad, can you just do it, please? And then he walk off. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
Boy,
see,
you good. This might have been a bad week for you to get off on Tariq. We're about to be on the microphone today.
But-
That's beauty. That's the
Yeah.
beauty in the exchange.
yeah.
But the exchange is in the moment where you say, why can't you just do it? Now, for me, I'm going to be like, you know, I got to say it. It's kind of like when I'm on a computer a little bit.
Right.
Because I can't let the moment go without that truth being present.
Right.
Yeah.
I ain't on some petty stuff, but I need you to think about it.
Right. Yeah, you have to show them.
But it is a
Make
real
it
thing.
clear.
But we all,
Make
that
it
lesson
clear.
about learning styles is important for all parents, not just between the children. If you do not know your spouse's learning style, you expecting some stuff you just not going to get. You're going to drive yourself crazy. Because as a teacher, they have to learn your child's learning style. And if you don't know what it is, that means you're not going to parent conferences.
Right.
But to that point, our children do need patience with us, but I'm gonna shoot him some bail a little bit because he hasn't known yet and hasn't been in a career yet. He's been an entrepreneur from the beginning. So he didn't go out of college and go to PD trainings and learn how to present the information to somebody that got to learn it yet. And you the student. But look, and this is the balance. I'm gonna give you the other bail. I'm gonna give him. You said he works for young people a lot. They get it so fast.
You're
When he telling them,
Right.
I mean, you telling
Right.
somebody young, that's how they get it. So,
right. Yeah.
But
we
that's
old.
amazing how the conversation didn't solve it. You had to be put in that situation. And then boom, now I see what you're talking about.
He
Now
still
I
don't,
can have-
but
Oh,
but
okay.
he-
Don't say
he-
that.
nah.
He got more patience. He might not talk about
right.
Yeah,
No, but he helped me tremendously,
oh yeah.
and he pushed me tremendously, and I love it. You know,
The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. You could listen more, and he could be more patient.
right. Yeah.
Always. Man, listen. We done had this conversation and we've gone a long time talking about what we've been talking about. And we've been talking about us as fathers.
Yeah.
But we can't have the conversation without talking about our own fathers.
Okay.
We can't have this conversation without that. So it's very important. J-Moo mentioned it earlier. All of us in some capacity had a father who was not present for whatever reason.
Mhm.
So we have to talk about our fathers and the men who kind of stood in that space serving as fathers for us, if there were any.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'll go first since I
But
brought
let me
it
ask
up.
you this now. I just want to say where we at. Like,
No, just go
Yeah, I
ahead.
know
That's
where we
fine.
at.
Yeah,
I
let's
know.
go.
Okay.
Yeah,
keep running.
I know where
Yeah.
we at.
But if you-
I was
okay.
trying to
Yeah.
get it in a little sooner, but
No, but it's
but
good.
for real, like, you know, I think we all kind of, for me personally, you know, Dad passed away when I was 11. You was 9, and then we had a grandfather present, and we had a bunch of uncles who kind of fed into us, and that was amazing. You know what I mean? I think we had an amazing dad who was there, was super proud of us. He was a teenage father, and thank goodness he was, you know, because he didn't make it to 30.
Right.
So thank
Yeah.
goodness he was a teenage father, because we got those 9, 10, 11 years from him and our mom. And so I knew, when I reflect back on all the lessons he tried to teach us, taking us into a bank or sending us into the bank and telling us how to do transactions and go into, I think it was Vepco at the time. You know,
Oh,
you know,
dang.
go into
Vepco.
Vepco
Yeah.
and teach us how to
Virginia
pay
Electric
bills and all this stuff. I'm
Power or
8.
something.
Yeah.
Well, how I need to know all this? I'm 8. But he had a vision for us.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, and he had a vision for us, and he was using those little things to try to teach us, you know, and shaking hands. We learned that when we were real young. All of that little stuff.
How you doing? I'm Joaquin Wynn.
Yeah, you remember that's how we met.
Yeah. You're right in front of me in the classroom or whatever. Right? Yeah. Why? I mean, never before. Why? Yeah.
Exactly. So like all of that little stuff, man. And I can honestly say this. As an adult, you know, our dad has passed away, but as an adult, my main goal in life and ambition in life is that when I meet someone in this community and they know who my father was, that I make them proud and they can be proud of him,
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
of who I have become,
Mhm.
who my brother has become. I want them to say, "You baby son?
Right. Yes.
Oh
sir.
my goodness. I remember your daddy might tell me a story or two, and then they can be like, man, you look just like your daddy. Man, you and your brother, I'm so proud of y'all." That's a reflection of him and who he was and his
Yeah.
teachings and our mom and what they did. I want to make them proud. You know, and that's why I live the life I try to live, so that when people meet or see us, that's the feeling and emotion they get. because he not here to do that. He not here to see that. He not here to see who the men we have become. But guess what? His friends can see the men we've become.
Yeah.
You know, his other family members can see the men who we've become. And so that's how I live my life. And and I do it for him every single day, bro.
That's awesome.
Every single day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that's how I see it.
And think not of those who are slain in Allah's way as dead. They are alive, but you perceive not.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Come on out.
Absolutely.
He in there, hey.
Yeah, and I was able to, and we were able to piece together, you know, the good people we are from uncles, granddad, and the men that we had around us, and the aunt, like, you know what I mean? That's how we became
the
these
village,
men.
the family.
So they all play vital roles in who we are, crucial roles. I mean, crucial.
Right.
You know, and nothing like
more than they can ever know.
more than they would ever know.
Yeah.
You know, nothing like, man, I'm a diehard UVA fan to this day because my Uncle Mike grabbed me by the hand and said, come with me, let's go. You know, that's why.
Yeah.
All those years, all those games, that's where
Right.
they come from.
Right. Yeah.
The idea of entrepreneurialism and all that stuff coming from Uncle T. The idea, the wisdom that Uncle Ed always gave us. You know what I mean? Uncle Randy being an athlete and having an opportunity to travel for the 76 Olympics and the athlete that he was, all of that became all a part. And then, of course, June, our grandfather, just being steady and present and full of wisdom. All of that helped make us who we were. And so that's why, man, you know, all of them dudes get credit for playing roles in terms of fathers and all that stuff for us, man. And, you know, I can't say enough about all of them.
Yeah. And I before, I mean, because I don't want to, earlier when I referenced that, I don't want anybody to think my dad, well, he was there, but I guess in the sense of being with my mom, so to speak, you know what I'm saying, as a unit. And so there was, yes, plenty I got from my dad. And I love him for, you know, for all of that. And so, you know, he did the best he could with what he knew, you know, with that of a divorce and all, you know, and everything. So, yeah, I definitely don't want to slight that at
And you
all.
had a great relationship.
And we had, yes, we did. Especially, and it's I hate that it developed so late. You know what I'm saying? You know, you understand what I'm saying? But I'm still grateful that we did. You know what I mean? Whether it was golfing together, taking it with the bowling, taking a cross, you know, like a little cross country trip to a bowling tournament in Ohio before, you know, he passed and everything. So I am grateful for that and thankful to God for those things in those times. And of course, you know, coming up, it was a little rough for me to understand that, you know, as a youth. And JG had shared something with me that I had known, you know, with regards to how it affected Pop's graduation and you know, the credit I didn't kind of give him. And so you know, he wasn't necessarily completely absent, but I guess the just in and out or just based on, again, the he and my mom not being together. And yeah, but so and again, I do appreciate him at least at the times that he would get me and of course, you know, introduce me and have me connected to his side of family, which JT is mad big on and carries that, you know, on that side for us as well, because he's big on that with family and all. And Pop, you know, Dad might not necessarily have been thinking it that way in intention. However, I am grateful because I don't know if I would have never met JG. No, I'm just no, but for us to become as close as we did, although we had grown up in the house, you know, for a minute, but you know, before that time, it was hardly, you know what I'm saying, I can hardly remember. So as he said, coming into middle school as to when we really just kind of, you know, was really connected and everything. So
it was a time period where teenage parents, you know what I mean, young marriage, young divorce, you didn't know how to move around and at that back in the days, cats just disappeared, you know. And I'm not saying he disappeared, but when his father was killed, you know what I mean, and you had nobody really stepping in and hey, come on, nephew, I got you. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Right.
No one doing that for him. And so, yeah, man, but that's why we live and we learn and try to take it to the next level and understanding that, you know, he had no nefarious attitude, if that's the proper word I want to use.
Yeah. And that, you know, I'm always reminded, the minister always said that God didn't put us here to be a judge of our parents.
Yes, sir.
Like, for no matter what they did,
Yeah.
you are not put here to be a judge of them.
That's
and,
right.
and that God actually thinks that's one of the most rebellious acts you can do, is to be a judge of your parents.
Man, you have to say that one more time.
But that you are not put here to be a judge of your parents. And judging your parents is one of the most rebellious acts
To God.
in the sight of God. And we'll take a whole nother episode to talk about why.
That's true.
But you don't judge what got used to bring you here, because you didn't choose, and there is a energy and entity that chose who you call parent and who to be with you for whatever reason. And those circumstances that you could never imagine about whatever they went through, you don't understand the math behind all of
Right.
that.
That's right.
And so that's just a whole nother thing. But you just remind me of that when you was talking about your dad. And I'm in that situation, like, you know, Don didn't know my father, didn't even remember laying eyes on him until 12 or 13. So I didn't learn nothing from him.
Right.
Except like abuse victims. People that get molested either become molesters or they become people that you will never get molested or get near them to molest their children.
You protect
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I learned by what didn't happen.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And the balance of that is, I heard the minister say this. He said, I ain't had no father. He said, but I had a strong black mother.
Right. Yes, sir.
He said, and if there was a man stronger than her, he said, you would have to show me. Right? And I know my mama, I ain't saying she was like that, but boy, I tell you what, the lessons I needed to learn from a man about persistence, about a quiet confidence and patience and resilience, I got all of that. About hard work, I got that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And that was enough to keep me on a road and out of jail or for something stupid or something. You know, I ain't no gangster. I did enough stupid stuff that could have put me in jail.
But
right?
you're still dangerous though.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Still
okay.
dangerous.
Supposed to be.
Don't
Supposed to be.
don't stay safe, stay dangerous.
Oh, okay. Peaceful but dangerous.
That's what is that Nipsey Hussle, but anyway. But yeah, so but to y'all's point about the village, man, I lately, bro, you know what's been growing on me lately is that I was gonna stop saying I had male guidance because of how dope my oldest brother is. And I give him a lot of credit, but I need to put that credit in the context of that fatherhood piece.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because his example, bro, he actually gonna be here. He in town, so I told him to stop through here today. But I've been thinking about that a lot as I look at him going into being a 60-year-old man and still checking on his little brother. I mean, now.
Yeah.
Right.
And making sure all the brothers good. And he always made sure I was good. And he was always the voice when my mother couldn't reach me no more.
Nice.
My brothers.
Yeah.
Right.
Whether it was putting hands on you or, look, man, what you doing?
Get back over here.
What you doing?
Yeah.
You hurting them. Causing problems. You know what I'm saying? So that village for me was everybody got one. Yeah. So I do embrace that. And I'm glad you said that because it enabled me to give some credit to my mama,
Yeah.
my brother, and not condemn my father,
Yeah. Right.
but understand that example helped me be committed to them three I got.
Bingo.
Before we finish, the Pops, Kevin Smith, I give you some credit as well, sir. Most definitely. So I ain't want to leave Pops out. For sure. Couldn't do that.
Yeah, and the same thing. We talked about it a little bit before, but the same thing when you're saying, if you come up with an alcoholic father, You may be alcoholic, you don't drink at all, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And so a lot of times it may sound simplistic, but you know the story. I found my father when I was 25, right?
yeah.
So we still don't have no relationship. However,
Y'all got one. It ain't as good as you would like it to be.
yeah. Yep. So it hadn't evolved. You know what I mean? It is what it is. But when I say just being there, it sounds simplistic, but just being present. That's huge.
Sure.
Right?
Oh yeah.
When
We spoke about that in
when
the
there's
other
nothing there.
episodes,
So
yeah.
for me, when they say just being there, that's everything to me. For
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And it's simple as that. Yeah.
Showing up.
Yeah,
we always talk
exactly.
about that, man.
Show up.
And my three guys I point to, my great grandfather, married 77 years, 13 kids. I knew him until I think he passed, and maybe I was 21, 22.
Yeah.
Great example. You know what I mean? Isaiah's middle name is Dallas, you know, for Dallas Garland. And I knew him well, but again, he was so old, it wasn't my day-to-day thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
I knew him, but then in June, Washington, wild man, Godfather taught me a bunch of stuff. And Daryl Johnson, Steve Dad, he was a steady, present, daily dad.
Yes, sir.
Do
Yeah,
y'all
sir.
remember in school sometimes if you was playing ball and you ever look at a dude like, man, he got a dad in the house. What's wrong with him? You know what I mean? Yeah, he got a daddy home. He got this and that and the other.
Got a Volvo?
Yeah. I like, man, why he not balling out? You know what I mean? Because we did used to appreciate, when I say Daryl, I think about my cousin Steve. When we was just talking about Mr. Sheffield, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mr. Dye and all the black
Yeah,
fathers.
seeing those men
being
come to
that-
football practice,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, Duprat Johnson and
Exactly.
Mr. Sheffy and all
being
them.
those men is even more golden.
Man.
Those dudes
Being
didn't
those
realize,
men is even more golden, right? It's
yeah, but
Yeah.
those dudes had no idea the impact they had when we was watching them.
I
Yeah.
think they did.
You think so?
I think they did it on purpose, bro. Because they were so intentional.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
what
you
I
right,
mean
right.
is, because I can remember Mr. Sheffy and of course Phil's dad is my cousin, but and Darnell's dad. I remember
Yeah.
them taking an interest in you when you came off that field and having a word for you, and you ain't their son, but they kind of knew you needed a word. At least I'm gonna get
Yeah,
that part of it.
yeah, that's true.
The encouragement alone, man. And I was like, they had the Danville game,
yeah,
they had the
Yeah.
Halifax game.
right.
Man, I'm gonna do that one day. And now what? We at every game, every practice.
yeah,
You know,
everything.
that's a beautiful thing.
Sometimes
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah. Well, of course, my brother shared a tremendous amount of people who impacted our life. You know, once Pops passed away. But you know, I definitely give a lot of credit to Uncle Mike. You know, scalping
Uncle
tickets,
Mike.
showing us how to
Teaching us
negotiate
the world.
Yeah, and
The world.
and just always going somewhere and doing all kind of fun activities. Man, Uncle Randy, man, you know, showing me how to fish, man, and Waukee and I used to be his caddy when we was younger, man. It was just so much
Clubs
fun.
was too heavy.
Yeah. Waukee was kicking dirt. I'm up here pulling the clubs and stuff, and man, Uncle Tommy, man, just man, him giving me that business wisdom, that real estate business wisdom, man, and just teaching me all this, and also teach me how to become funny and all that stuff, and you know the
Who?
card tricks, Uncle Tommy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man. And so
Uncle Mike got jokes, man. What you talking?
yeah.
But you can't tell
but
them
you
jokes.
Can't tell them, you can't tell
No,
them
sir,
in public.
we-
Can't tell them jokes.
You can't tell them jokes.
Those private jokes, you know.
Man.
Yeah.
And just left. You know, was out in Vegas not too long ago, man. Hung out with Uncle Ed, man. And,
3 days ago.
a couple days ago, hung out with Uncle Ed, man. And just being man, that was one of the things, man. Seeing Uncle Ed and Aunt Gail, inspired me on my journey when I moved to Atlanta when I was just a young buck. Just like how in the world did you do that? You know?
Hey, for the folks that don't
Yeah.
know, Aunt Gail was in Seattle
Yeah.
and Uncle Ed was in California.
Yeah. And now Uncle Ed in Vegas.
Vegas.
So, so man, definitely, but definitely just, you know, just that village, man. And, you know, the
It
aunts
takes-
and stuff. Everybody just pouring into you and stuff.
Hey, and I'm gonna shout out y'all too because they took in a wayward person like myself. Hey, and it permeated. So I learned to hustle tickets. I ain't hustle tickets like y'all did, but I got that from Uncle Mike. When I found my father, I was in California staying with Uncle Ed. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember having so many conversations with June Bean. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously Uncle T.
Yeah.
All the jokes and the fun times with Uncle T, man, and just from Uncle Randy coming to DC to see Gabriel play football.
Oh,
You know?
whoa, okay.
So
But I mean,
messed
but
up, but
see,
what's
you
messed
gotta
up,
you
though,
gotta remember, like, how many friends take somebody else's grandfather to the movies? John took June to the movies.
Yeah, that's
I'm
hilarious.
mad though,
know
cause
what I'm
man, he over here shouting y'all out, man. Ain't say nothing about Bo and
Uncle
been over there
Bo.
drinking all my. He drunk all my Uncle Bourbon up, all the meals, and drank all the bourbon and everything.
Old Crow, Old Taylor,
It's the
man.
B2M crew, y'all. We chopping it up about fathers, about how your children can be your heroes because of the characteristics and achievements they make and the goodness that we see in them. And we also talked about the examples that we had and why we care so much about being fathers and the great examples that we have as a village as we try to reclaim it. Joaquin, you got something to take us out with?
Yes, sir. In the words of the great Frederick Douglass, it is easier to raise strong children than to repair broken men. Peace.
Yeah.
And I won't stop until I'm winning. I'ma show 'em how true and independent get it. Whole game changed by the time I finish with it. We about to get this business handled in a minute. And I won't stop until I'm winning. They don't want me in the office.